What is going on, YouTube? Luke here with Clean Automotive Detailing, and we are out in the field today. We are working on a 2018 Sierra Denali, and we are just doing a quick little interior exterior detail, wash and wax, and then just kind of freshening up the inside. It's actually it's very clean. These are some of those clients that they say, oh, sorry about how dirty the car is, and then you look at it and you're like, my car's not that clean. I'm not doing any paint correction on this truck today. I talked to the client about it, and there's some swirl marks, but it's not even a year old, right? But they do take it through an automatic car wash. So I thought that this would be a perfect example, because it's not so bad, to give some kind of tips and tricks on removing swirls. I haven't really been doing a lot of paint correction up until recently, and when I got started in paint correction, I had a really hard time trying to achieve results, period. And it wasn't until recently that I did a lot of research on YouTube, and it's just been kind of a lot of trial and error. So I thought, well, I will go ahead and compile kind of some of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years, and hopefully they could be helpful to some of you that are having troubles kind of trying to achieve some of those results. So I've got my equipment kind of scattered around because this was a spontaneous decision. So let me get it gathered up, and I'll see you guys in a minute. So before we get started, I just wanted to show you kind of what we're dealing with here, right? There's definitely some swirling. They take it through an automatic car wash. I already said that. It is not that bad, not very severe swirling. I asked the client about it, and they said they would rather wait a year and tackle it then, which was actually my suggestion. It doesn't really need to be done. At this point, it doesn't really take away from the overall gloss of the car, right? When it's sitting in the sun, and actually, while we're here, it's a little cloudy outside, but you can't see it. There's a few little spots that are worse than others, but it is, I just got it cleaned, so it's a very, very shiny truck, okay? So if you guys have watched my channel before, you know that I use a Griot's Garage 6-inch random orbital, and this is a great little machine. And I'm actually in the market for a new one. I've said that in a video before. Here in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be looking at a few new polishers, something with a little more oomph. But I'm using this for this video, and I will kind of come full circle on that in a minute. In my experience, the biggest mistake that I have made when trying to paint correct is using too much product. 100% of the time, I would season the pad, season, that's Larry's thing. I would prime the pad, which means squirting on your compounder polish and rubbing it in, right? And then I would just go to town with my product. That is the number one thing, is not using just an insane amount of product. Now what I do is I will prime the pad, and the other thing is, depending on what kind of pad you're using, you almost kind of want to prime it more or less. So with a foam pad that's got this one in particular is thick and it's got a lot of pores, you want to use just a little bit more, whereas you're using a microfiber pad like this one, you're not, the product is in the pile, right? So that's where you want the product. So you don't need to prime it as much. In my opinion, I've found that works for me. And if, I don't want to contradict anybody else or whatever, but that is what's worked for me. So what I will do is prime the pad, and then I will take, this is Griot's Complete Compound. I've been having pretty good luck with this lately. And yeah, I really love, I'm a big fan of Griot's products. They're expensive, but they work. So I will prime the pad, take my whatever, and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is all you need. And remember that you want to be working in roughly 2 foot by 2 foot sections, right? So a square of 2 foot by 2 foot. And that is important because if you work in sections greater than that, you are overworking your product, and the only way to remedy that is to add more product, but then you get into your pads getting gummed up. That was the biggest thing that I found, was I was just getting just gummy, nasty mess. It was hard to go on, it didn't work very well, and it was a pain in the ass to get off. 100% of the time, it would patch up and be gummy and nasty, and I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. So this is all you need. We will work on a quick little section real quick, just to show you that this little machine with that little amount of product is all you need. And granted, this thing doesn't work very fast, but it does work, right? You can get some pretty professional level results with something this small. I said earlier that I was gonna bring that around full circle. I brought it around full circle. That was stupid. So this is gonna be a pain in the ass because, as you may know, my tripod system has failed me. So anyways, I'm gonna try and manipulate this camera the best that I can, so bear with me. Starting on like a speed 2 just to work it in a little bit, and then moving up to speed 4, 5, or 6, just depending on what machine you're using. So I want to make another point about something, and believe it or not, I actually did this on purpose. I have been using this pad for the rest of the car. I'm just doing little spot corrections, and little scratches that are kind of more than the swirl mark. So the number two thing is to clean your pad out. It is so important to clean your pad out. And the best way to do that I have found is to use one of these. This is like $10 or something like that on Amazon. It is a brush conditioner, it is a pad conditioner. This thing will save your life, especially if you're using microfiber pads. This thing works much better on microfiber pads than foam pads, in my opinion. But here's the point I'm trying to make. I'm going to wipe this off here, and I'm so sorry for the quality of my cinematography here. It's terrible, I know. Okay, well, I guess my point isn't going to be made because that's pretty good finish. But while we're here, let's look at the before and after. So, oh my God, this is so bad, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna do something different. Okay, so here we are before. You can see the swirling, not that bad again. But here is the section that we just worked on. So there's still a few little spots, not 100% perfect, that's okay. But just as a demonstration, before, after, okay? So 100% better. The point I was going to make, and that didn't work, is if you get into a situation where you're getting spots when you're wiping it off, if you're getting spots or patches or anything like that, you probably need to clean out your pad. So using one of those conditioners is supremely helpful. Another way to do so on the fly without purchasing one of those pad cleaners, which I'm sure we all really would love to have, but they cost $150. If you're not familiar with a pad cleaner, check out autogeek.com. It's basically a 5-gallon bucket, and it's got a grit guard in it, and it pumps cleaner up into your pad while you rotate the pad on the grit guard. Very cool, but I can't afford it, so we're not doing that. From AutoGeek also, and this is one of Mike Phillips's things that he does, is called the on-the-fly pad cleaning technique. And what you do is you take a fresh or very clean terry microfiber, it's like a jumbo shrimp. Terry cloth, put it on your pad. I'm knocking stuff all over the place. And turn it on. and just work it in. This lighting is so bright. Okay. So you can see some of the product that's come off, and that is also a good way to clean your pad. That's really a good way to get kind of some of the saturation out of the pad. And then I will always go back with the reconditioner and brush off any of the microfiber pile that has attached itself to the pad. So that's number 2. Number 3 kind of goes with number 1, using too little product. I have never had this problem. I think that some people do kind of get scared, especially when they're starting out. I mean, it is scary. The whole idea of paint correction is terrifying, right? You are taking an abrasive. You're essentially taking liquid sandpaper and sanding a car. And when you're working on something like this is a 2018 Denali, Sierra Denali. It's probably an $80,000 truck. And, you know, if you're working on, they've also got, and I'm actually coming back a couple weeks from now to work on his M6. And, you know, when you're starting out, it's kind of a terrifying notion, right? If you're working, let me just say this, if you're working with a random orbital, you're not working with gear driven, you're not working with rotary. If you're working with random orbital, 99.99% of the time, you're gonna be okay. I don't think people maybe say that enough in the beginning for beginners, I suppose. So let me just go ahead and say it. Rotaries are not safe. DAs are safe. Rotaries are not safe. I don't want to get into it. DAs are safe machines. You are not going to burn through the clear coat unless you sit there with it on one spot with no lubrication. You're good. I promise. You're good. Number 4, using the right pad. These I use Griot's pads because they work very well, and they can be picked up at AutoZone for $15 or whatever. Again, not the most cost efficient pad, but they're convenient, and sometimes that is more important. So if you are trying to get out some very severe defects, I use the orange correcting pad. It works very well. It's harder to keep clean, and it definitely keeps more product, and the foam breaks down more. So at the end of the day, or at the end of your pass, this is going to have a lot more stuff in it, and it's harder to get clean. But it does correct very, very well when it is clean. The microfiber cutting pad, I have found that these do, and I'm actually pretty certain that the funny thing is with the microfiber finishing pads, these are, I think, supposed to correct faster than an orange foam pad. I have not found that to be the case. The orange foam pad will cut through defects very, very quickly. And this is kind of like it's a finishing pad, like it says, it's a finishing pad. So I kind of use that for polishing and things like that. So just the point is using the right pad for the project. If you are trying to get huge gouges out of the paint with a waxing pad like this, you're not gonna have a good day. I don't know if that was the right character. I don't watch that show. Number 5, I guess, the pass itself. Like I said, you want to work in a 2x2 section. You want to be going in a cross-hatch section, so side to side, and then up and down, up and down. I don't know why it works. I know everybody says that that's how you're supposed to do it, but it does seem to work better than just going side to side. Also going overlapping your strokes. What I usually do is overlap by half a pad. That's an easy way to remember it, and that ensures that you are getting the whole area. Number 6, I think we're on number 6, is just making sure that and this probably correlates a little bit with number 2, keeping your pad clean, making sure that the surface that you start with is clean. If you are working on a section and you've got, dirt, don't even get me started on dirt. If you've got things like, like road gum or something, road gum, that's, I just made a new thing, road gum. If you've got, road tar or bugs or something like that, it's going to pick up on your pad, and it's going to dirty your pad faster. If you get something abrasive enough, it's going to scratch. So keeping your surface clean is very important. If you're working on a vehicle that has been, waxed a lot, when you wash the vehicle, add a little Dawn. Yeah, I said it. Add some dish soap to your mix. Now, don't go and, dump a whole entire 20 ounces of Dawn into your water, but mix it in with your car wash if your car wash does not have some kind of wax in it. Because when you're paint correcting a car, you want it to not have the waxes on it because the wax will get in your pad and gum it up. Another thing you can do to make sure the car is stripped is to use IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Go over it one time. You'll be sure that you have got everything off it that you need to get off. That was number 7, I think. I'm starting to lose count. For now, that is those are all the tips that I have. So I hope that was helpful. Those are kind of the things that have been the most helpful to me in achieving results. If you like this, please subscribe or like, and put a comment up of what you would like to see next. Any questions you guys have, as always, you can email me at lukeelston@me.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys for watching.